what is it? Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And then that's what you do. What will God do? Verse 7. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. You know what God says? He will personally guard your heart and mind. How many of y'all know guards are intended to protect maybe a property or an individual from harm? Guards can do a good job, but guards are not infallible. However, when God has chosen to guard, get this, He's going to guard your heart and your mind, which is the source of worry. You understand? The heart speaks of our emotions. The mind speaks of the things that we're thinking about. He says, God will guard your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. And notice, what kind of God will guard your heart? The God of peace. That means He's going to bring peace, and He's going to make sure that as much as the devil tries to bombard your mind and try to move your heart, God will protect you. Sandra Bullock won the Best Actress Award. She starred in the movie On the Blind Side. It's about a left tackle, whose job was to protect, what was his name? Michael Orr, that's it, I forgot his name. Michael Orr was the left tackle, and his job was to protect the blind side of a right-handed quarterback. Well, you know, as much as Michael wanted to protect them, sometimes a defensive end slips through and sacks that quarterback. Well, you know what? God, though, when He decides to protect your blind side, how many of y'all know you don't have to worry about anyone hitting you? Because God is blocking everyone. There's no one that's going to get in. And as much as the devil will try to bombard your mind with fear and worry and anxiety, when you've done what He told you to do in verse 6, God promises to do what He's going to do in verse 7. He's going to protect your heart and mind and keep you at peace. But what do you have to do? You have to pray. Notice what He says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition. So, what do we mean by prayer? Most people think that prayer is simply asking God for things. Now, prayer includes asking God for things, but prayer is more than asking God for things. And the reason why I know that is because He says, in everything by prayer and petition. Can y'all say petition? Petition is the requesting of things from God. So if prayer was always requesting, why would He need to say and petition? So obviously, the first part where He says in everything by prayer, He doesn't mean petition. The second part of the prayer is petition. See, and most people, when they get into trouble, they call up the prayer line. In fact, my wife told me that a lady called her up this last week. And she says nobody's able to help her. She lives in Montreal, Canada. No one can cast out the demon. No one can free her. And she's gone to everyone for prayer. But you know what her problem is? Like so many people, they think prayer is asking God to help. Help me, Lord. So when you're in pressure situations, some people think, help me, that's going to be it. Wrong. You're only fulfilling the second half of the verse. The verse half says, in everything by prayer. The second part is and petition. Don't leap over prayer and jump into petition. You have to fulfill the prayer part. So what is prayer then? You know what prayer basically is? It's worshiping and magnifying and praising God. That is the essential element of what prayer is about. Remember, Jesus gave us the Lord's Prayer. And how did He tell us to begin the Lord's Prayer? It doesn't begin with, give us this day our daily bread. No, that's the third thing of the Lord's Prayer. That's not the first thing. You see this? And most people is give, ask, help, do. We're trying to get God to give us something. Alleviate the problem. So if I don't have the problem anymore, God, I won't be stressed out. So fix the problem and I won't be stressed out. God says, no. You don't wait for me to fix the problem for you not to be stressed out. If you will just pray and petition me, you won't be stressed out. Why? Because prayer is, Our Father, who art in, where is he? Now, what does that mean, heaven? It doesn't mean that God is so far away from you. He's way up there. No. Heaven doesn't mean distance. Heaven means transcendence. Notice it says, and the peace of God, which transcends. Did you all notice that word transcends? We don't use that word too often. But literally, transcends means beyond the material universe. You get this? So when you talk about transcendent, you're dealing with something beyond the material, beyond the universe. So when you say, Our Father, who art in heaven, you know what you are declaring? God is bigger than this universe. He is over this universe. Therefore, there is nothing in this material world that is beyond God's power to change. He is above it all. So Jesus is saying, remember, your Father is not of this earth where he is limited by the laws of this world. He's beyond the laws of this world. He can go beyond everything that this world knows. So you know what he's saying? Our Father who art in heaven. In other words, our Father who art above the world, greater than the world, more powerful than the world, a God in which nothing is impossible. So you know what the first part of the Lord's Prayer is worship and praise to the Father. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. You know what he's saying? Praise be to you, Lord. So prayer doesn't begin with, could you help me, Lord? Prayer begins with praise to God. It's magnifying him. This is what Psalm 69:30 says. It says, I will praise the name of the Lord with song, and I will magnify him with songs of thanksgiving. And to magnify the Lord, what does it mean? You all have seen magnifying glasses. When you magnify something, it gets bigger. My wife, after 26 years of marriage, bought me some reading glasses. Yes. And occasionally, if it's dark and the print is very small, I might put on the reading glasses. And when I do, it's amazing how I enjoy reading more. I started realizing I wasn't reading as much as I usually, and I think it was because I wasn't enjoying it. It's reading slower now. Everything's getting slower. Taking my time on the... But you know what glasses do? It magnifies the word so you can see clearer. Now, how many of y'all know the magnifying glass did not make the letters bigger? The letters are still the same size. Are you getting this? So when I put on my magnifying glasses and look at God, I never made him bigger. He can't get bigger than he is. He is as big can get. You with me? He's big. But all that's happening is I'm now seeing him for who he is.